This song always jams. It always jams.
Mm.
Welcome to another installment of Movies Down Memory Lane, the show where three friends get together and talk about the films that mean the most to them. I'm Stephen Billings, and with me, as always, there's two of my best friends, Andrew Cabral and Dan Skip Allen. How you guys doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm having a good week.
Good.
Nice,
Whoa.
nice.
Calm down.
Oh, I was gonna say,
Andrew,
are we whipping out our GoodFellas?
That sounds dirty, but all right, go ahead.
Yeah. Did he freeze?
No, I didn't freeze. I'm good.
Yeah, you're freezing, Andrew, over there. But I don't know what's going on with you. But yeah, he left us.
Oh, Andrew.
Oh, he's messing this up. Oh.
Oh, man.
But all right, so we'll get Andrew back here, I'm sure, in a second after he figures out what's wrong with his camera. But he's I don't know.
I think he's got a blizzard going through his area.
Did
Yeah,
you
he
freeze?
might. No, we're good over here on our side.
We're not
You're
in
freezing.
a blizzard. We're not in
Yeah,
a blizzard like
we don't
you.
have the weather problem that you're having, apparently. But yes, like I said, we're here for Movies Down Memory Lane. And this time around, it is Dan Skip Allen's pick. And last time, if you saw, he picked the 1990 film GoodFellas. What's so good about this movie?
Well, ever since I was a kid, Stephen, I always wanted to be a gangster. And, look, you watch movies, okay, and you could tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, and you've told me if I'm wrong before. You watch movies to be transported to a different world, even if that world is a realistic world of gangsters and
Is it
drugs.
realistic? Is it really that realistic, though?
Well, it's a true story. It's a true story.
Well, we know true stories in movies doesn't mean that it's always a little bit stretched.
And it's
but-
very, very similar to the book because I read Wise Guy.
Yeah.
And Mitch Pileggi's book, Wise Guy, it's based on that. And the screenplay was written by Martin Scorsese and Mitch Pileggi. And I'll tell you right now, it got robbed for the Academy Award. I don't want to get into an Academy Award thing, but it got robbed. It should have won Best Picture in 1990. In hindsight, what has held up? Dances with Wolves or GoodFellas? I'd say GoodFellas has held up.
I mean, I think people would say that movie's still really good. I think culturally, GoodFellas is still. I think that it's just like Pulp Fiction in its year. Like people still talk about that culturally more than probably. I mean, even people talk about
94.
Shawshank.
94.
Yeah, people talk Shawshank more than they talk about Forrest Gump. So I mean, we know that this is a thing that happens, and I don't think it takes anything away from how good the movie is. So
no. I mean, look, there's two rules when you're watching GoodFellas that I always like to use, and that's keep your mouth shut and don't rat out your friends. You know what I mean? Keep your mouth shut and don't rat.
Is that what this whole thing's going to be? The whole night you just quoting the movie? Because like, how am I going to talk about the movie if I can't speak? I mean, it makes no sense.
No, Stephen, I want to, because you guys, you don't have the relevance to this movie as much as I do. So I'm really, and I know Andrew loves it, and I feel bad that Andrew, the snowstorm is probably messing with Andrew's Wi-Fi or something.
Hopefully he will get him back soon.
You don't have this kind of like love of the mob and the Italian gangsters and Italian food and this whole like glamorous lifestyle like I did, because it was just like, wow, you grew up in a different type of life and a different world.
I mean, the funny thing is but I did grow up watching Scorsese movies. Like, it's not, I think for me, it just didn't have the same, I didn't watch the movies with the same appeal that you did, because you seem to have focused on that stuff. And I know me and Andrew have a similar vibe about this. And here he is, hopefully back with us.
But am I the only one who crashed?
Yes, you're the only one that was,
Okay, yeah, because initially Steven went blurry, gone, and then my whole internet crashed.
Yeah, we're good on this end. We've been talking, man.
Oh, okay, so we're in it. So keep going.
Yeah. I was just saying, he was saying how that we have a little bit of different perspective on Goodfellas. And I said, well, I think I do. I know Andrew loves this movie, but me and you have also discussed that we feel like, just from hearing you talk about it, Dan, that you seem to have like a focus on what you consider glamorous part of these movies. And we don't think that that's what Scorsese is going for in these movies. And you seem to cling to that stuff. So it's like kind of weird.
Well, look, I had a rough upbringing. Okay, let's put it this way. I had a really rough upbringing. My father was abusive to me. My mother had 4 kids by the time she was 18 years old. I've been poor my entire life. Like, if I had a figure that came into my life like Paul Cicero, Sorvino, I would have been really like drawn to that, which in hindsight, I was drawn to father figures in my entire life, with coaches and bosses and stuff like that. And so in a way, it was like my version of Paul Cicero was when I was drawn to father figures. Paul Cicero was like a father figure to Henry Hill, and he brought him up. He went and beat up the mailman so he would deliver stuff to the house from the school when he wasn't going to school, and stuff like that. And there's just the food scenes are, in jail, he's cutting the stuff and telling the guy, don't put too many onions in the sauce. Oh, the meats and this. Oh my God, I just want to eat every time I see those scenes. And I never could cook. My mother didn't cook like that. My father didn't cook like that, And it's just like, wow, I want that Italian cuisine. I want it from Italians.
I think I see what you're saying. I think what you're pulling from it is that because, your family growing up wasn't quite as close and like it wasn't a wholesome environment. When you see like the Italian lifestyle, which is a lot of it is about family, that's what draws you to that part of the stories. Like what Scorsese does in his crime stories is when you see that brotherhood, you see that family. What I see and what I'm assuming Andrew also sees, we see that stuff too, but we also see how thin that brotherhood is. When really, and that's like the thing you see on the facade of brotherhood, but really it takes just a split second for them to turn on each other when the tough gets going.
No,
so
I agree.
So it's not real,
But I don't care about that part of it.
Well, I'm sorry, but that's what Scorsese's going for.
The backstabbing and the killing and all that stuff, that doesn't mean anything. It's how close the Pesci, the Ray Liotta character and the De Niro characters are as a real. They would go dig holes and bury bodies together.
Okay.
Oh wait, we gotta go.
You gotta be real trusting. Yeah.
These guys cared about one another. They would do anything for each other.
I don't think they really cared about each other.
It's interesting that you're saying that, because I think they cared about each other up to a point.
To a point.
To a point, basically meaning like, if one screwed over the other, then they
only cared about each other to what benefited themselves.
Right.
Once they become a problem, they turned on each other.
Yeah. Once like, yeah. And you can tell like there's fractures between them throughout the entire movie. Obviously, the Joe Pesci character is the wild card of it all. You know what I mean? Like at any point, I feel like that guy could shoot you. There's not a point where I feel like he would not do that, because we've seen parts of the movie that he does do that. For me, the movie, it does work and the movie works in both ways. Like it works both as like this view of the Italian gangster life as a unit, as a loyalty, as a family, because these are run by families, in quotes, but then there's also the negative side of it where like that family is, in quotes for a reason, because once you turn on the family, you're done, like literally done. Because early on in the movie, one of the most famous quotes of the movie is like, keep your mouth shut and don't rat on your friends or something like that. Like
Dan already graced us with them quotes.
Yeah, the movie's filled with incredible quotes. And it's like once you do that, like you're done. So it's like it's so thin up to a point, and I feel like Scorsese's films are kind of always similar to that. They're morally ambiguous. Like they show glamour and they show like darkness, and this movie shows both of it throughout the whole thing. Like there's a whole like second half pendulum swings. It's
Well,
like the first half's like the rise up, and then second half's the downfall.
Yeah.
well,
It,
that's the thing. Go ahead, Stephen.
yeah,
You
go
go.
no,
Well, I was
so,
just
yeah,
gonna
go
say
ahead.
before we dive a little deeper, if nobody's seen this movie,
Hmm.
it is a Martin Scorsese film from 1990 about like Dan said, it's based on a novel called Wise Guys, and it's essentially just kind of like he said, Italian gangsters come, specifically Ray Liotta's character, who is kind of goes through it from a young age, rises up through the ranks, and then kind of, as you said, falls down, through it, whether it's with drugs, with women, with just kind of running the gambit of all that, going to jail, all that stuff. And so like for me, I think out of the three, I'm the least, like, I'm not obsessed with this movie. I do think it is good stuff for sure. I'll go ahead and show my cards. I think this is good stuff for sure. I think I like it the more I watch it, but I'm still not. I think what some of what Dan is kind of obsessed with. I'm not I'm not obsessed with like that aspect, and I think like the Italian culture and all that stuff. Like that stuff, honestly, I feel like so kind of at this point like a caricature of the Italian culture. Like
Mm.
that it gets used up in so many different films, not even just Scorsese stuff, but like your like Sopranos, your what's the De
Goodfellas?
Niro.
I mean,
Well,
Casino.
analyze this, analyze that.
Oh, okay.
That same kind of like caricature of what an Italian American is like as a gangster. I think that just that I was exposed to that so much as growing up, and as a kid, I've kind of like moved on from that type of crime story. I prefer other ones. But the one thing I did leech onto a little bit here is I think that there's like this. And I think he does it way better than he tried to do it again when he did a movie like what's the one he just recently did?
The Irishman?
The Irishman. He did it way better in Goodfellas than he did in Irishman, which is talk about legacy or talk about like the generations. Because to me, you see the generational gaps with how you start out where the main boss, Paulie, who is like doing, he's the big boss, and the way he runs the families is very organized and restrained, and they don't go beyond what they're comfortable with. It isn't until Ray Liotta and Joe Pesci's characters grow up and they're working with Jimmy that they start getting into drugs. They start getting into running guns and doing things that are a lot more dangerous and not really serving the community anymore. Because, you saw the early days, Paulie's giving away money to people, the working people, and like working with the people in the area to like make normal people's lives better.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and most of what their business was protection. But then they start getting into, so it's about them generations and how the newer generations are always wanting more. They don't have any restraint. They don't have any like they're never satisfied, because they're always getting what they want and what they want. And I think that plays really strongly to today, and how young people seem to never be satisfied. And they see, and to an extent that sounds like that's just ambition, but really what it is it's not an ability to understand like that things need to be done in a process and not instant gratification all the time. So I think that's something I leached onto watching it again this time that I felt was really interesting, was that generational gap thing.
Yeah, and it plays into the idea of the American dream. This idea of the American dream is that, it's to gain wealth. You know what I mean? Rags to
Yeah, yeah.
riches stories. That's the classic American dream. And it's kind of incredible how this movie does actually do that, but it shows like how far are you willing to go to get that, and then once you have it, what do you do with it? And we see what he does with it. He just wants more and more and more, excessively so, to the point where he self-destructs.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the kind of the classic American dream story. We saw it in Scarface. I think that's the most prime example of that, where he, Tony Montana literally, climbs up to the top and then just overindulges into the ground, literally. And it's interesting that Goodfellas presents that, organized crime on that street level, which I think is where Scorsese really does a lot of his greater gangster work, is on that street level, because he's not like The Godfather. The Godfather is like bigger and I think larger scale organized crime. Like you're talking like
Mean
like
streets
areas of New York and just air in other parts of the country that they're going to war
Cuba,
over and stuff like that.
Vegas.
Yeah, like Vegas, and then when you get into the sequels and stuff. But when it comes to Mean Streets and Goodfellas, there's such a tandem because it's that street level local crime.
And The Departed. The Departed.
And The Departed too.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, Whitey Bulger, which now Jack Nicholson character was based on, he kind of ran Boston there for a while, so it's kind of a larger situation. But because he had connections all over, he had connections all over town.
Sure.
It's the same way here.
Providence, where you're from.
Same way here in Providence. The Italian mafia ran this place for decades, and they're still here now. They're still here now.
They're not in Boston.
There's a large Italian American base here in Providence and in Rhode Island. It's a large part of the population. A lot of it's to do with European immigration and stuff like that. That's why most gangster movies you see take place in like New York and East Coast, is because the families came over and they just settled here on the East Coast of the United States. And it's like New Jersey, New York, Boston, it's typically those areas.
Yeah.
Goodfellas, for me, I'm obsessed with the movie for different reasons than Dan. I'm obsessed with it not so much for its portrayal of family and culture and the food. Certainly that's a thing in there. But I'm obsessed with just the filmmaking of Martin Scorsese is something I've always gravitated towards. Learning about the craft of filmmaking.
And he likes that too.
Yeah,
I was going to get into that, but I didn't have a chance yet.
Yeah,
well, we'll
transition. So if I love the craft of Martin Scorsese's filmmaking, that's me, and I guess Dan loves it as well. So Dan, you talk more.
Well, I think we need to remember when we're doing this show, the person that picks something, we're supposed to be kind of interviewing them, asking them.
Yeah, I want to hand it back to Dan.
Yeah.
I love the craft. Dan, you love the craft. Talk about it.
Yeah. Please tell us what's so interesting about Scorsese's craft in Goodfellas.
Well, all right. First of all, like, you're a 21-year-old guy and you're quote unquote in construction, but you can wine and dine a girl, take her in the back door of the Copacabana, and they just bring you a table, and you're sitting right in front of Henny Goodman, and he's telling jokes, and you're like, what life? What are you into? Oh, I'm in construction. And that glamorous lifestyle is forefront. And Karen's like, am I in another world here? That's what I would have loved to have been able to do at that age of my life.
Anybody would have been able to want.
Yeah, everybody wants that.
Oh, I mean, the Chandrels, and so he kissed me. Oh my God, that through the Copacabana. Oh my God, one of the
most iconic shots ever
in movie history. I love that. Anybody ask me about the great movie scenes of all time, I always say that scene, that crane shot over the top of, they built all that was all on a set, and the maze through the Copacabana, and they just had that crane shot following those guys through there. And that scene will always be indelible for me as one of the great movie scenes of all time. I mean, whether you agree with the movie, the lifestyle, or whatever, you like it, you don't.
No, I mean,
that scene is.
There is no them parts of the movie are great. We're just making fun of you because it seems to be the only thing you focus on when we talk about these movies. But
come on, be honest. You're whining and dining your wife, first date, second date, whatever, and you have a chance to do something that iconic. Tell me right now, Steven, you would do something.
I would, but I wouldn't do it whilst killing people. That's the thing you're feeling. That's what you forget about all the killing.
You may be forgetting, like, the only reason why he's able to do that he's on that level, is because, like, he's a bad dude doing bad things. You know,
this ain't easy. Come on, get out of here. Nobody cares about the killing.
I mean,
we don't care about the killing. We just care about the Copacabana and whining and dining. Karen, Dr. Melfi.
All right. Let's talk some more about. Let's get some more info about. See if we can dig anything else out of Dan why he. So other than the cabana shot, is there any other parts of the film that really stick with you that are like all timers?
Yeah, near the end of the movie, there's the helicopter sequence where he's high on cocaine. Okay, he's high on cocaine. And he's like, I got to take the guns over here. I got to pick up my brother over there. I got to make sure I'm working on the sauce. I got to go do this with this one and that one. And it's, you're going in 15 different places. This one's got to do this. And I mean, are you kidding me? If that's not some of the greatest editing, Thelma Schoonmaker deserved the Oscar for that scene alone.
Well, I can tell you this. I agree with you on this movie that the editing's amazing. I think over time, she's got they're forgetting how to edit.
I think she's the best living editor we have.
These recent Scorsese movies have been way too damn long.
Ironically, they could have been longer. I think she ended up cutting them down herself.
Who knows?
These more recent ones, like, they're so fucking long, and it just this is what I mean. Like, I love Scorsese. I'm a big fan, but like, it started with, I think, with Wolf of Wall Street, like, where it just started getting just long and just. And yeah, I think in GoodFellas, like, it gets it to about 2 hours and 45 minutes, and it's like it doesn't feel like it. It feels it's just
I was just gonna say, that's the thing with Scorsese's work, is it doesn't feel long at all. Like, those 2 hours and 20 minutes go by. I'm talking like his earlier stuff. Even to be honest, I think I've only seen The Irishman once.
Silence felt
But the thing is, Wolf of Wall Street for me moves like lightning.
Yeah, I like Silence.
But Silence is also a completely different.
It's a different movie.
Film
and that's why it feels long. But it's good, but it just feels long.
Silence never didn't bother me. I saw that one in theaters. It's Irishman and Wolf of Wall Street. I felt the length of the movies.
Okay.
The thing is, I can watch Wolf of Wall Street so many times. I don't know why. Like, I don't feel like that runtime at all.
That's another guy I grew up with, Jordan Belfort. All the commercials on TV, I could see this guy. You know.
Well, yeah, that's another movie that is interesting. How it's glamorizing this life of wealth and opulence and all of that stuff, but then it's another one where like the crash downward is just as epic.
That's his formula. Yeah.
But that's Martin Scorsese's thing.
That scene though, Stephen, did do something for me. It's like, don't take drugs. Do not take drugs. No matter what happens in your life, do not take drugs. I did not want to be Ray Liotta, Henry Hill. I did not want to become what Henry Hill became. I'm like, nope, no drugs for me. No coke, no drugs.
I'll say this. Look, I'm not saying take drugs. I'm not saying that. But I'm also saying that what's happening to him, he's already addicted to drugs. He's already been taking them for a while, excessively. So the reason he's feeling that is because of where he's at. I've taken drugs in my life, and I've never had that experience necessarily.
Yeah, but he's like,
I've taken cocaine. I've taken it once.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And I did not have that experience.
But Henry helicopters following you all over the place.
No.
Henry Hill, by that point, he had been doing it for decades.
Oh, he did. Yeah, he's been obsessed with it. And this was early cocaine days when it was like pure shit. Like,
it's it kind of just shows that life is kind of nuts, because we do see it's interesting because the movie does function as a biopic of Henry Hill's life. Henry Hill, I think, was part of the production of the movie. I believe so. Like there's a Henry Hill. He's part of the commentary on the Blu-ray.
Protection, though.
Yeah, well, he's in. That's what happens towards the end, is that he's in witness protection, and that's what he has to do. And I'm pretty sure he's not the only one who's had to do that. But by the time this movie was being made, he was part of the making of this movie. And one of the commentaries it's Henry Hill commenting on the movie.
Okay, this is another. People want to give Martin Scorsese all this garbage about the narration. This movie's narration is incredible. You got Lorraine Bracco comes in halfway through the movie. Ray Liotta's narrating it most of the time, and then Lorraine Bracco comes in, and then she gives her perspective on the whole thing, the marriage and the whole thing. And I thought the narration, I mean, I love the narration in this movie. People are, oh, narration's bad for movies. Why? Why is it bad for movies? You get a perspective in the narration that you don't get otherwise. You know what I mean?
It's a choice. I mean, look, there's some filmmakers that are really, they're dedicated to the idea of show don't tell, and so they would rather you just pull from it what you see, out of what you see, and you know, I think you could take the narration out of this movie and it would still work on a lot of levels. And but I think the narration gives a little bit more inner thought, inner perspective on the journey we're going on. And I think that's why it's just like Shawshank Redemption. The movie came out the same year. A lot of narration, a lot of, you get Red talking about things from point of view, and it's an important thing. We get a lot of perspective.
I also like
Shawshank
how
came out in 94.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's 1990 and 1994.
I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah.
stuck on 94 from talking
But
about it.
I do agree that sometimes like narration for me doesn't work. Like if it's
Sure.
just a narration describing the scene, I'm like I can, or just telling me what the scene is supposed to be. It's like I can see that on the screen. What Goodfellas does, it's almost like Henry Hill looking back at his life and commenting on the decisions he was making in his life and how he now is looking at it in a different perspective. Like, oh, at this time I thought, you know, I was doing this, but I didn't realize what it really was and stuff like that. So for me, it's almost like him, like
Documentary.
retrospectively looking at his life later
It's
on.
like a documentary, right? It's like
Yeah.
he's getting a documentary feel out of going back and telling the story of his life in a way, you know, but it's a narrative feature directed by Martin Scorsese. So he gets so many levels to it. There's so many levels.
It's the same thing with the Lorraine Bracco character, Karen, where she's also kind of looking back on it. And I love how when they introduce her and she voices her opinion on what's going on in the story. You get her perspective from the wife of a gangster's perspective, how she's talking about what it is to be that. Like, you know, the only friends she has are the wives of the other gangsters. They're not really allowed to go outside of that spectrum of people, outside of that purview of people, just because that's not what they do. You know what I mean? It's very kind of regimented and structured. She's supposed to have a specific type of role as the wife of a gangster. You know, it's kind of also interesting. They introduced this idea of, you know, Friday nights are the nights for the girlfriends of the gangsters, and Saturdays are for the wives. That's the term they use in The Sopranos. They didn't bring that up in this one, in the movie. But
a lot of connections with The Sopranos, I might add, in this.
Yeah, a lot of connections in there. Michael Imperioli's in the movie. A couple of other actors are in the movie as well. That would end up. Oh, Lorraine Bracco.
Well, what's his name's in it? Paulie. What's his name at the beginning?
Yes.
A couple of the guys at the beginning. The guy that runs the store that Henry Hill works at as a young guy. Yeah. I mean, they're littered all over the place in this movie, and it's like, oh, that is great. They're using all these guys for The Sopranos. So it's kind of a connection in a way.
I mean, one of the most important guys ends up in the narrative. Billy Batts, portrayed by Frank Vincent. He's in The Sopranos. He played a big role in The Sopranos later on.
Go get the shine box.
He always played a gangster. Like he was in this. He was in Get Shorty playing a gangster. He was
Raging
kind of
Bull.
typecast as that.
And there's that connection. I want, you know, if you know Scorsese and you know Scorsese movies, he puts in layers on top of layers on top of. Look at the connection between Joe Pesci and Frank Vincent in Raging Bull and now in here. You know what I mean? And there's those layers on top of layers that he does, and it's like, God, man, this guy is like working on a level that's like unforeseen from other directors. You know, except, you know, like the great directors like Hitchcock and Spielberg and people like that. You know what I mean? But that brings me up to something. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we didn't really talk about this, but Scorsese takes a lot of inspiration from the old gangster films in this movie. The old gangster films from the 30s. Typically, before the era of film noir, there were the gangster films, where you got guys like James Cagney and Edward G. Robinson. You've got all those classic movies from that era. And he took all of that from it. Like, there's even parts of the movie where Joe Pesci's pretty much playing like a James Cagney character.
Oh, yeah. And
that's
like White
all...
Heat. like in White Heat and
like in White Heat,
with Dirty Faces and stuff. Yeah,
like even like Little Caesar, which was Edward G. Robinson, that stuff from the 30s. That stuff's all great. If anyone's interested in getting a lot of Martin Scorsese inspiration, go back to the 1930s
the
Warner
Roaring
Brothers gangster
20s,
films.
the Roaring 20s. Oh
Yeah,
God,
that's another one that's
Bogart
excellent.
together. Steve,
Yeah.
I want to talk about a sequence in the movie, but I want to, you haven't.
Well, I was going to say one of the other aspects that, and this is a Scorsese thing in general, but one of the things he does is utilize music in his score. A lot of needle drops.
Loves the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, the Rolling Stones are all over this. I think it was
Chandrell's in the Copacabana scene.
He uses Cream in that great montage scene.
Cream was my favorite moment. I think the Cream scene when din 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 din.
I was gonna bring that up, man. Yeah. God, you're on point because I know you're the music guy, Steven. You're the music guy.
Sure, I guess.
And I think he does the chorus for Layla or something like that. When it's the montage of after the Lufthansa heist where they get rid of all the guys who were part of the Lufthansa heist. I think that's the ending of Layla. What's his name?
Well, that's what I wanted to bring up. I wanted to bring up the Lufthansa. See, I mean, you hear, this is a true story because you see these things on the news. You hear about the Lufthansa heist as the greatest heist in American crime history. And he's like, oh my God, that's a real thing. Then bam, you learn about the guys that actually did that, right? But the best part is when the stupid guys, like the two rules we know of, don't rat out your friends and keep your mouth shut. Don't be going out and buying pink Cadillacs and mink coats and all this stuff. Like, you're going to get whacked. I mean, how dumb. But I always use the Carbone. When I used to write a lot of trivia, I used to write for trivia leagues. And I was like, where was Carbone found dead in GoodFellas? And very few people remember where Carbone was found dead in GoodFellas. But I always remember that. That's to me. I mean, the other ones are. I love that he's found dead in the freezer truck, and he's like, he killed Bill. He killed Stacks. He helped kill Stacks, and he was in on a couple of the kills, and then he gets whacked later on because stupid idiot bought his wife a damn mink coat like an idiot. Like, come on, guys, just man. He says, don't tell anybody, don't buy anything, don't do anything. Like. It's like, that also oh my God, you just want to strangle these guys.
Yeah, that also goes back to what Steven and we were discussing before. In like, you're only loyal up to a certain point, and then once the paranoia kicks in, or they think something negative about you, they'll get rid of you. And because all those guys were like, they were all in on this. You literally said it, like the biggest heist in American crime history or whatever. Which is true, and they got rid of him. Doesn't matter how tight you were with them, or whatever you did
the reason
for them.
The main reason was because he didn't want to share.
Well, yeah, I mean, less guys want to share.
That was the reason. That's what's his name said was the main reason. And those guys did stupid stuff, so they gave him a reason to get rid of him. Yeah.
Then there's the Murray guy with the guy who ran the wig store.
Come on, Murray.
He was
what the heck you gotta learn to shut the hell up, dude.
Did you? Well, right before he gets axed in the movie, he brings up something that's actually true, something that's local here, is the point shaving of the Boston College Eagles from the late 70s was something that's very real. They actually did a 30 for 30 ESPN documentary on it a couple of years ago. And that was true. And that was done by Henry Hill and those guys involved, like Jimmy Conway and all that stuff.
See that?
That's a direct connection to up here. So he talks about that right before he gets whacked in that car. So a little local trivia here.
Yeah, well, see, that's what I'm talking about, the layers. Like, nobody would know about that if you're not, like, if you don't know what was going on. Like, I knew about Lufthansa before the movie. And when you watch the movies, oh, these are the guys that did Lufthansa? Oh, cool. And that's, as a kid, I think I was 18 or either 17 or 18 when I saw this for the first time. And I was just absolutely blown away by this movie. It was just like, and I've watched it dozens of times since, obviously, today before coming on here. But
it's a film I think a lot of people is their gateway to Martin Scorsese. Was it your first Scorsese, Dan, or no?
Raging Bull.
Oh, okay. When you were
Raging
younger,
Bull,
okay.
1980. That's why it's still one of my favorite movies of all time, is because it really hit me hard as a kid growing up and seeing that character of Jake LaMotta. You're like, I don't want to get into too much of it, but that was really something that affected me quite a bit as a kid. We'll get into Raging Bull one of these days. We'll talk about
Did you see
Bull.
Goodfellas in the theater?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
I saw most of Scorsese's work after that. The ones before that I did not see. It was Goodfellas was the first one I actually saw in the theater. And I seen everything
crazy?
else.
I think mine was actually Wolf of Wall Street.
Was it?
Because everything before
That's
that, I think
crazy.
I'd seen at home.
Yeah, I've seen everything else after that, except I don't think I saw Kundin, and I don't think I could find Kundin, to be honest with you.
You saw with the Age of Innocence? Did you see that in the theater?
Yeah, oh God, I hate the Age. I still to this day.
Yeah,
hate
I think The Departed was the first one I saw in theater.
Yeah, that
was a good one.
Yeah, because after The Departed, he did Shutter Island. I think that was after The Departed.
Yeah, it was, and then
Hugo. and then Wolf of Wall Street, if I remember correctly.
It was Hugo, then Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, you're right, Hugo. I always forget Hugo. I think I did see Hugo I either saw Hugo at home or I saw Hugo in the theater. I can't remember which one.
I made sure it was in 3D when I saw it, because it's got some amazing 3D. So
it does have some amazing 3D work.
I mean, when Scorsese's going to do something for the first time, that's the only time he's done it. Nails 3D.
I think that was the first movie he shot in digital, because with 3D technology, I think it was, because he typically shoots on film, but I think that was 3D. That was digital. But yeah, Goodfellas for me is, like I said, is obsessive because of the filmmaking of Martin Scorsese. I think is second to none. Like it really is just extraordinary to me. And rewatching Goodfellas brings back all the memories of watching it for the first time. I think I saw it on DVD, probably 2007. I feel like a lot of people discovered his stuff on home media, on physical media. But yeah, Goodfellas is an all-time classic for a reason. But I think what's interesting is Dan bringing up all of what he loves about the movie. I was going to say is kind of like that's kind of what how everybody views the movie, is in that way, where everybody always talks about how cool it is.
I mean, a lot. Well,
I
mean, that's the thing. I think a lot of times when these type of Scorsese films come out, there always tends to be a little bit of controversy. I remember this especially for Wolf of Wall Street, because people feel like he's glorifying this type of behavior, and they don't it's like they watch the first 45 minutes of the movie and then they don't watch anymore. It's like
they shut it off.
It's like it like you don't
Casino
understand.
Starts with an explosion of a car, but a car explodes at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to tell a story of
people,
real people that try to get into get successful in the world in a different way, but then ultimately go too far and
cautionary tales.
They're cautionary tales. Yeah, they're and like to a certain level, especially that first beginning of this film, you could see how keeping it to a certain area isn't the worst thing in the world. If they were just doing some schemes, doing protection for people, like that's not that bad. Like you could almost get over that.
Yeah,
but it's like
selling counterfeit clothes and
that's stuff. It's like
stealing stuff off the back of a truck.
I have a question for you guys. Okay, so Scorsese doesn't do this movie, okay, but somebody decides they're going to do the entire Lufthansa heist. That's the movie, okay, with all new actors playing all the same characters, and the movie is just that heist, planning of the heist in the bars, other guys playing these characters, and they do the heist, then everything, all the guys get killed after. Would you be interested in just that directed by a new director and new actors and everybody do it, just because we never did get to see the Lufthansa heist?
Now I've seen Heat, so
yeah,
nice.
And that's the director that knows how to do a heist movie on a very technical level where we see all the bits and pieces. And I don't need to
I would even say Ocean's 11
is even
similar to that.
So all right, go ahead.
The Lufthansa heist for me, it seems to be more fascinating as a documentary than it would be perhaps as a narrative, because unless there's because it didn't feel like there was much drama. Like them pulling it off, because they pulled it off. Even to this day, it's legendary.
Well, that's why they didn't do it in the movies, because it was on the news. Everybody knew it happened. So you're not gaining anything by actually going through the process of. Plus, it would probably add another half hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah, and even then, the movie's kind of about Henry Hill's
Story,
like all-encompassing life.
Good point,
It's more of
good
a
point.
character story than a story based on plot, because there's so much happening in this movie. And this movie takes place over, from like the late 1950s all the way up to like the early
1980.
1980s. Because I think the real people who are involved, Henry Hill and all those people, they were convicted, I think, around 84, 85 or something like there. So you got like several decades. So it just feels like it's one part of a much larger story. So it's important, but it does the movie only covers it in what, like 10 minutes of the plot of the movie. Like it's not a lot dedicated towards it, because there's so much other stuff going on.
It's an interesting bit, but I don't think it's not.
I don't know if you can
to the character.
I don't know if you can make like a 2-hour movie on it.
Yeah.
No. Okay. All right. Well, because you remember, you still got the killing of the guys at the end afterwards,
Yeah.
And then you got the whole heist, and then you got the planning of the heist, So, and how did Maury know about this? First of all, we never got into where Maury got the information, what and how he got it to where those guys are planning it. I would have liked the planning stages and then going through with it, and then not just Henry Hill's hearing it on the news. I mean, I don't know. I guess.
Well, I don't think Henry Hill would have been like there pulling off like
no,
these guys.
He wasn't in the movie.
Yeah,
he wasn't involved.
These
in
are the guys who like get other guys to do stuff. These aren't the guys who do stuff.
Yeah.
Like even towards the end of the movie, towards the very end of the movie, what really tipped off Henry Hill that they were going to get rid of him was the fact that De Niro's character asked him to pull off a hit. And it's like, yeah, he's never asked me to do that before, ever. So I'm like, yeah, that's telling. That's telling that I'm the one being hit.
Go in over there. Go down there. Go in right. Yeah,
that's a tense sequence.
Yeah.
That really was. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say this isn't no surprise, but I think De Niro's performance in the movie is my favorite. I think he's, Pesci is being Pesci. I feel like we've seen. I mean, he kind of plays that erratic, loose cannon type a lot. And Ray Liotta probably put in his best performance, of course.
I think it's Ray Liotta.
I mean, he's great, and it's his story. But like, there's something about the Jimmy character. I wanted to see more of, I wanted to see other sides of him that we didn't see. So he's kind of mysterious. But he's also he's so morally gray. Like, I don't know whether he's somebody I can trust or somebody that's on my side. He just feels like he's like the better version of Joe Pesci's character, where he's willing to kill, but he's not quite, he's under control.
Well, he's not ambiguous, Stephen, in my opinion, because you see all those guys after the Lufthansa heist, and he's whacking them all. He's
willing. He wants to kill. He likes to steal and kill. I mean, that's what
he literally was in the car when Joe Pesci killed Maury. He was literally right there when that happened, and then walked out of the car. Hey, take the car, get rid of the car. So he was there when they beat Bats to death. He's not ambiguous to me.
Well, him and Henry are similar in the sense that they're both not. They can't be made men. So they're because they're not full-blooded Italians. So there's a chip on their shoulder to be more, but they can't technically be more within the organization. The whole thing. So,
you would feel like Jimmy Conway's character would have been a made man already had he been 100% Italian, which I believe he's Irish, and I believe Henry is also half Irish. So they're not allowed to.
And I think that's a part of the movie that I found fascinating on a watch this time too, is that the idea of the mafia is to circumvent government, to get around the system, but then in that they have to create their own system, and within their own system they have rebellion and anarchy, and so it's like they have to do the same thing that the thing that is their enemy does. They just do it more brutally and out in the open.
That's
So,
very interesting. How there is an archetype, there is a structure within. Oh yeah, there's a structure within any organized crime unit.
yeah.
You know what I mean? There's people on various levels. They even have names like capos, people running the streets, people run the corners, and then you move up and up until you get to like the big
Yeah.
bosses and whatnot. And it's very interesting how that's all structured. And we've seen that throughout like several movies. Like I said, that's kind of why I brought up like The Godfather before. The Godfathers, you kind of see a lot of the guys at the top. You know what I mean? Like you see Michael Corleone, you see, his father Vito Corleone. Like those are the dudes at the top. Those are the dudes who go to like the meetings with the big old lazy chairs. You know what I mean? Like those are those guys. But like Main
And
Street,
we get that
like,
alluded to.
Goodfellas,
Paul
those are like
Sorvino
street level guys.
Yeah.
Paul
saying, Dan?
Sorvino alludes to that a little bit because they're coming down on him about the Billy Bats heist, which he's asking Henry, hey, what's going on with this guy that up the street?
Yeah.
That
Like
guy.
the other, the other areas are asking him because the Billy Bats guy was a made guy. You're not supposed to get rid of a made guy unless you have permission.
Unmade
You got to
guy,
ask for
yeah.
permission, and there's
Yeah.
got to be a reason. You got to get
And
the
that's
sign
where I
off on
think
it.
that's where you, Stephen, are like interested, like the levels of the Italian mob fascinate you.
I'm not interested necessarily. I'm interested in the comparison to the kind of
Okay.
the irony of an organization that's created because of another organization. Like they don't want to deal with government. They want to live outside the system, but then in living outside the system, they create their own system.
Yeah, they create their
I
own
think
system.
there's an irony to that.
And then their own system ends up having problems, structural problems, due to greed, due to untrustworthy, due to paranoia, due to other
it happens
influences
with the drug
coming
cartels. It happens when there's money involved and stuff like that. That's gonna collapse around you. It's just a matter of time. You know what I mean? It took a long time for it to happen, and it's just like. That was all over the news. Some of the stuff that one guy would pretend he was crazy. He's walking around New York in his bathrobe, but he's one of the main bosses and stuff. Yeah. It's like, give me a break with these guys. They're just try to pull anything to try to stay out of jail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, the question I want you guys, I think that you guys should be asking me that you haven't asked me though is, do I condone what these guys do? Is this why I like this movie so much? Is it because I condone this lifestyle?
Now, Dan's trying to save himself from everything. Okay, Dan, do you think it's okay to do all the bad things they did, to do the fun things that you like? Go ahead.
Yes, I do. I condone the violence for the lifestyle.
So Dan does,
I said it right at me. Ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to be a gangster. I said it right at the beginning.
You would there's like a caveat to that. If we could get away with anything, we would do anything. You know what I mean?
Bingo.
No, I don't think so.
I could get away with all that, man.
I don't think killing people is something that is just something you get over. I think some people can get over it. Now, funny enough, we talk about this, but our main character really doesn't kill people in the movie.
No,
Henry doesn't kill anybody. Everybody else around him does.
Yeah, what's great? If you notice the Billy Bats situation, which is kind of the main murder, he even when like they're getting rid of the body, he's freaked out by it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not just something. I don't. You say that, but it's not killing somebody and taking somebody's life is like kind of something that we see all the time. People die all the time. But we unless you've seen it, like you don't understand. Like it's not. No, you couldn't just do that. I don't think you could just do that.
Yeah, it would erode. I mean, it also depends on the type of person you are. But I guess
at least, or I'm giving you too much credit. Maybe you are just a terrible person.
Yeah, I'm hopelessly optimistic that it would erode your soul, Dan.
Yeah.
Look, the thing that what's the answer to this is this: you have to be put in the situation. Then whether you can, if you can do it or you can't do it, or can be involved in it or not involved in it. That's because if you're not in it, you don't know. You don't know.
There's a lot of people in this story that you see that get caught up in this. Normal people that get violence on them because they're stuck living in this area where this town, this mafia is, you know,
like the
whether
guy
it's
that hit on Karen and he
that
was
dummy.
messing with
well,
Karen.
that guy was just an idiot.
Yeah, that guy's
Yeah,
a dumbass.
but I'm talking about like the guy that owned the restaurant. I'm talking about, you know, that got his ass beat and then lost his whole restaurant because he had to sell it to Paulie. I'm talking about the truck driver that gets stopped and they get robbed, you know, like from Jimmy, you know, like them people have nothing to do with it. But they get caught up in it and then sometimes get violence on them because, you know, they want to steal and they want to do their thing and have fun like you're talking about. So them people don't deserve the violence that is put upon them, but it's what happens. So
I mean, maybe you can call me hypocritical. I don't know. I mean, I just feel like when you grew up like I did, anything's better than what I had.
Sure, I understand the perspective, and that's what his Henry Hill's character is. He doesn't want to stay at home. He wants to go and he doesn't want to go to school. He wants to just live this life, and it's great until you get into it and have to actually take responsibility for the thing to earn the life that you see, and then it becomes like you killing people and taking drugs and doing bad things. So that's the whole point of the movie, you know.
Yeah.
So
no, I mean, no, you're right. That part of it is the real reason the movie it works. You see the beginning of Henry Hill doing the things and getting into the life he wanted to be in, that glamorous lifestyle, and then that glamorous lifestyle then comes crashing down around him as he's the further and further along he goes.
Yeah.
You know, like Jenga. You know, you pull one piece of block out or dominoes or whatever you want to call it, whatever analogy you want to use, you know.
And to be honest, like and this, I know this is probably weird and people won't agree with me on this. And maybe this is just because this was kind of my first experience in the theater, as I said earlier. I do kind of prefer The Departed over this movie. Because not only are we getting the crime perspective, we're also getting the cops perspective and getting to see the ways in which he has to like sacrifice his personal life to get to the bad guy. And then I don't want to spoil it for people that haven't seen it, but how it ends is tragic and how it ends is unfortunate. And like, I just like that it's also kind of a harken to old school kind of like seeing, but kind of makes me think of High and Low. You get both perspectives. You get a little bit of the criminal, get a little bit of the cop perspective, procedural. Like you get, like, I like that tandem. And of course the cast is amazing with Matt Damon and Jack Nicholson and Leonardo DiCaprio and Mark Wahlberg and just endless amounts of talent in that movie. And it just makes for such a sprawling crime story that gets on both sides. I prefer that story and how it ends and how it all comes together at the end more than I like this movie where it feels like it's just about the crime element. The criminal side of the story. This is
GoodFellas is what you're saying. It glamorizes.
I'm not worried about it. I don't think it glamorizes it. I'm just saying that it just focuses more on that part of the story. And I like the more neutral Departed that gives.
I don't want to go off on two because it's open up another can of worms here. But I do like the fact that there is a movie basically I think Scorsese's done this a lot. It's a movie that our protagonist is also the antagonist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a movie following someone you shouldn't be rooting for, but you are rooting for him because he's the main focus of the movie. And that creates conflict within yourself as a viewer.
Sure.
And I like how Scorsese is challenging our perspective. Because even, I guess, from a modern perspective, people are struggling with that idea that you can root for a bad guy because they're the main focus of the movie. People are having that problem currently with Marty Supreme, with the fact that Timothée Chalamet's character is kind of a Scorsese-esque character who is morally, ambiguous, if you will. Mostly negative, though. And people struggle with following those narratives in movies because like they want someone to root for,
Sure.
They want somebody who is, I guess, more good than bad or even entirely good. And I'm like, that makes the movie kind of one-sided, kind of plain. Give me something more challenging in following somebody who is kind of a bad guy, doing bad things. And then how does that journey go for this character?
Sure. I think, yeah. So in some cases, bad person, but also they're just examples of humanity at its, kind of on steroids. You know, like it's even people like us. We can have our greedy moments. We can have our, you know, our nonsensical moments where we did something and we didn't think about it at the time, and then we look back and we're like, shit, I should have said something, or I didn't say something. Like it's, I think them characters present themselves as being very important for a lot of people. Like you said, I haven't seen Marty Supreme yet, so yeah, but you know, films like, I mean, shows like Dexter. People love Dexter. He's a serial killer that kills other killers, but they love him and they root for him, even though he's a killer. Like these kind of characters are very, I think, fascinating for people.
Even, I mean, just to make a direct,
eats people's brains.
A direct gang. I mean, we've seen this in modern stuff as well. Tony Soprano, another gangster.
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad with Walter White. Yeah. I mean, these are not good people, yet we're rooting for them because it's their story we're watching.
Mad
Men.
Yeah.
Builds a guy's identity to get in the world of ad executives.
That and he cheats on his wife every chance he gets.
Yeah, that's like AMC had the carte blanche on the great 2000s. I have to say the 2000s had some amazing shows when it comes to those type of characters.
Yeah. But we've already kind of done that. We are kind of already showed our cards. We obviously know Dan's obsessed with the movie. I believe Andrew's also obsessed. Right. I'm very much good stuff. I think this is definitely one of the top Scorsese films. It's up there for me as well. But I prefer honestly a lot more of his non-gangster films more than I prefer Silence. I prefer King of Comedy. I prefer even After Hours, which I know you're not a fan of After Hours, but I prefer After Hours.
After Hours,
Hugo though? Do you like Hugo?
It's good. I like the fact that it's a film centric, like love letter type of movie, but it's not one I go back to a lot.
Okay. To me, Taxi Driver is my favorite.
And Taxi Driver's up there.
Talk about Eddie.
So I'm not quite. Okay. I don't lean towards his gangster stuff quite as much as, like I said, I think The Departed's probably my favorite of his gangster movies. But yeah, I'm a big fan of his films. I do wish he would calm down a little bit on the length, but you know what? I'm not going to complain about more Scorsese. It's always, every time he comes out with something new, we're excited for it, and we want to go to the theater and see it. So any more final words, guys?
Yeah, he's got a bunch in the works. We'll see what comes out first. You know, it's a matter of, he's also an old guy.
Sure.
You don't know how long he's got to live, and
I know
movies he's got in him. Yeah, but the rumor is a sequel to the Last Temptation of Christ is another Jesus movie, but it's supposed to be a 90-minute one. It's supposed to be a short one though. With who did he say was it Daniel Day-Lewis who's going to play? I can't remember who he had playing Jesus.
I hope that's not his next movie. All right.
No, he's got like 3. He's got the White City, something in the White City, the Chicago.
Devil in the White City, which is
the story about making that for forever.
Yeah. They've been trying to do that for a while. I've even heard that maybe a TV show, like a mini series.
It was supposed to be a TV show on Hulu.
Yeah.
Leo DiCaprio bought the rights to that book years ago.
Yeah.
Couldn't get.
I read it. I read the book. Yeah.
I haven't read it yet.
I read it too. I mean, it's a great. Just gotta get rid of the architect stuff. We want to get into
I think that stuff's fascinating, but that's just me. But I think it's important to the juxtaposition to the killer we're following in the story as well. But all right. Well, that is it for this discussion of the classic Scorsese film, 1990s Goodfellas. Now, typically we come back in 2 weeks, but we're going to take a little break. We got a lot going on in all 3 of our lives. Dan's got, Oscar season ramping up, so he's going to be spending a little more time doing that. For us over here, we got some movie mutation stuff that we have to get recorded. And on top of that, maybe ramping up to do some other things we've been talking about. But for the most part, this is just kind of we just need a little downtime to work on that stuff. So sometime probably maybe end of February, possibly March, we'll be back. And when we come back, it'll be my pick. I don't have anything ready to tell you, so it'll be a nice surprise. So since it's so far away anyway, who cares, right?
Come on, we all know. We want to know. No,
I mean, I could just pull my phone out and pick something, but I prefer to just wait. Yeah, so we'll take a little break. We'll see you maybe in a month, let's try to hopefully just a month. I'm thinking so. But we hope everybody has a good February. And since that'll probably the next time we see is late February. But that is it for this installment of the show. And hey guys, get with your friends, watch movies, talk about them. Have a good night.